Chain of custody. Property clerk M. Salazar, OFCD, Riggs, DV, Tech S. Barnett Lab. The envelope arrived in the precinct's steel drop box sometime between 1945 and 2020. No postage, no sender. Officer Dana Riggs signed it out at 2028 after property clerk Salazar noted a faint chemical odor, solvent, or old adhesive. Inside, a VHS cassette, masking tape on the spine, hand-printed in block letters. Doorbell file number 12. No brand. The cassette's felt window showed yellowed spools like it had been stored in heat. At 2041, the Digital Evidence Lab logged the cassette under cold media conversion. Technician Barnett prepped a JVC deck with a time-based corrector, routed to a digital capture unit, and recorded a clean start time. He announced the procedural checklist for the lab microphone: power levels, tracking, head drum temperature, ambient noise. 30 seconds of leader tone, black screen. Then image. The frame resolves into a fixed exterior shot. Standard suburban porch, 2 steps, vinyl siding, a porch light with a dim halo. The doorbell cam's field of view bends slightly at the edges. In the lower left, a white timestamp, 12:03 and 11 seconds AM. Wind noise skitters along the mic. For several seconds, nothing moves but a moth weaving through the light cone. A man steps into frame from the left, half silhouette, half flare. He wears a gray courier jacket, the kind you can get at a workwear store, with a rectangle patch where a logo should be. The patch is there, but the letters smear at the edges like they're always out of focus. He carries a medium parcel wrapped in brown paper and nylon tape. He doesn't ring. He sets the parcel down, squares it so the address label faces the door, then lifts his head into the camera's lens and holds still. 3 seconds. His smile looks like a reflex, the way people smile at sensors in stores, not happy, just acknowledging. He walks away. A different porch. Concrete slab instead of wood, single metal chair visible. The same man, the same jacket, the same parcel. The timestamp remains 12:03 and 11 seconds AM. The porch geometry has changed. House number now 742 stenciled on the mailbox instead of 16 painted on a riser. But the light's color temperature, the angle of the camera, even the moth look identical. He sets the parcel, squares it, looks up, smiles. Walks away. Barnett stops the deck, rewinds, checks the capture buffer. He logs a continuity anomaly, identical timestamps across non-identical locations. Officer Riggs leans toward the screen. Addresses? She asks. Barnett magnifies the label on the second porch. The pixels break into blocks before text resolves, but he manages a partial, Avon, and a zip ending in 13. He prints a still for later enhancement and continues. Brick stoop with a horseshoe nailed upside down. Same man, same parcel, same time. He places the package, tilts his head toward the camera as if recognizing it. Smile. Walks away. The doorbell overlays differ. One shows a battery icon, one a Wi-Fi strength indicator, one none at all, indicating 3 distinct devices. Yet the macro exposure profile remains almost identical across shots. Riggs writes, likely composite? Data injection? And circles the timestamps. She asks Barnett to scrub forward. At frame 284 of the 4th segment, a glare band washes across the man's face. Barnett runs a frame blend, then a high-pass edge detect. The courier's visor reflects a micro-text string inverted by curvature. Riggs tilts the monitor until the text reads clean enough to note. Delivery complete, December 12th, 12. Tracking code, she asks. Barnett shakes his head. Not any carrier I know. Riggs flags it for a cross-database search after capture. The wind that's been constant thins into a hiss, like the mic is now inside a container. In the 5th segment, a faint whisper rides the top of the spectrum. Not language at first, more cadence. Barnett filters low frequencies, raises the gain. The whisper becomes syllables. He's back, he's at my door again. The voice is female, close to the mic, but not on that porch. More like an overlay recorded into the same channel. Riggs logs possible concatenated emergency audio and pencils pull 911 logs near midnight. Riggs asks for a full playback at 50% speed. In slow motion, The courier's body mechanics are consistent. Weight on the right foot, a slight external rotation of the left hip, dominant hand placement of the box. He never knocks. He never rings. He never looks at the package after setting it. The only variable is his eye contact with the lens. In some segments he engages immediately. In others, he angles his face and then returns to center as if waiting to be invited. Barnett opens the capture metadata panel. The file is a stitched digital container with analog provenance, meaning someone captured multiple doorbell streams, then recorded them out to tape. The container's internal index shows a hidden terminal marker after the visible last frame. The marker references lat/long consistent with Haverhill, Ohio, and an anticipated timestamp, next Thursday, 12:03 a.m., the day after intake. Riggs writes a separate action memo, notify patrol. Spotlight checks on residential blocks with identical porch geometry to scene frames. Request voluntary footage from owners of devices with timestamp overlays matching samples. She also drafts a quick query to regional carriers for any legacy codes containing the date December 12th, 12. At 12 minutes and 51 seconds, the final segment plays. The camera's horizon pitches 3 degrees left, correcting, then pitches again as though the entire doorframe flexed. The courier steps in, but this time, he doesn't set the parcel. He cradles it. The porch light flares and dims. A child's wind chime, moon and stars, taps once. He looks into the lens longer than usual. His smile doesn't hold. It drops like someone told him the scene is over. He raises the parcel to chest height. The image pulses once, twice, and the recording cuts to black. Barnett lets the tape roll out. Leader tone.
Snow.
He ejects the cassette into a clean bag. Riggs signs the chain and requests urgent enhancement on frames with visible address numerals. She also sends the audio segment to dispatch to check against any 911 call where a caller whispered the phrase, "at my door again," between midnight and 0:10 in the last 30 days. Before she leaves the lab, she writes one last line in her notebook, a habit she picked up after a training on pattern bias. Treat it like a prank until it repeats. On the way out, property clerk Salazar calls after her. "Detective, you might want to see this." He holds up a fresh evidence envelope, same off-white manila, same block letters, but the number is different. The ink bleeds slightly through the paper. Doorbell file number 13. Agent Marrow received the tape and 3 corresponding stills via overnight courier. Each image bore different addresses, yet all 3 porches had identical dimensional ratios, 6-inch risers, 1-inch mortar joints, identical shadow angles. Using photogrammetry, the team determined the light source position and found it mathematically identical in every clip. You'd need the same sun, same cloud cover, same bulb wattage, and the same latitude, Marrow noted in his log. Impossible unless it's the same porch. He fed the frames into FrameScout 2.4, a forensic reconstruction tool. The program's pattern algorithm tagged a repeating anomaly, a ghost region, 8-pixel blur near the top left, identical across all clips. It suggested the frames weren't independent. They'd been templated from a single video and composited with variable overlays. But when the team extracted the metadata hash, each file fragment had its own checksum, time-synced to real-world doorbell uploads from different IP addresses across the Midwest. 5 different households, 5 different ISPs, 1 identical subject. At 9:30 that morning, HBD dispatch relayed that 3 of the homes seen on the tape corresponded to open missing person files. The Dillons, 742 Maple Lane, reported missing December 12, 2012, archived. Amber Hollis, 16, Birch Court, missing February 11, 2024, 3 days before the tape. Travis and Leah Keene, 1109, Red Elm Drive, missing June 5, 2018. All cases listed, last seen receiving a package. Riggs, now cooperating with Marrow's unit, sent over a still from tape number 12. The courier's wrist bore a faint discoloration, circular, like an RFID tag impression. Federal acoustic analyst Tara Gleason ran the whisper segment through spectral comparison. The voice matched a 911 call placed on February 11th at 3 minutes and 14 seconds, the Amber Hollis case. Dispatcher notes, Female caller whispering, "He's at my door again," then disconnects. The call originated from a location less than 1 mile from HVD headquarters. No unit arrived before the line dropped. When Gleason mapped the waveform of the whisper from tape number 12 and the recorded 911 audio, they aligned perfectly: frequency, decibel, background hum. It was the same file, sample for sample. Someone had spliced real emergency audio into a synthetic video. But the 911 recording had never been released to the public. Merrow's team searched the Federal Media Registry for similar doorbell patterns. They found 11 other clips flagged by Ring and Nest moderators for suspicious time loop behavior. Each showed a courier at 12:03 a.m. setting down a package and looking directly at the lens. Each file was auto-deleted from user cloud storage within 48 hours. Only cached thumbnails remained. Overlaying those thumbnails revealed a strange pattern. The porch tiles formed a spiral when stacked in sequence, like a faint sigil or QR code. The spiral's center pixel coincided with a numeric timestamp, 12:03. Merrow wrote in his report, "Pattern may function as a trigger within image recognition algorithms. Unknown origin or intent." Officer Riggs reviewed one of the thumbnails on a high-contrast monitor and noticed something that didn't register on software analysis: a reflection in a storm door window. At first glance, it was the courier's own shoulder, but when she magnified the image 300%, a silhouette appeared behind him, someone taller, facing the same direction, motionless. The reflection extended beyond the door frame, like a shape that didn't fit inside the scene. She sent the still to FDFU for depth field reconstruction. Results returned inconclusive. Object does not exist in 3D space consistent with environment. At 14:07, Merrow's AI analyst fed the timestamps, locations, and metadata into a temporal prediction model. The algorithm plotted a route following delivery patterns east to west across Ohio counties. The projected next coordinate landed at 322 Willow Ridge Drive, Haverhill, scheduled February 22, 2024, 12:03 a.m., exactly 7 days after the file intake. HVD requested a joint stakeout. 4 marked units and 2 unmarked surveillance vehicles were assigned to the residence, an unoccupied property belonging to a bank in foreclosure. Technicians installed high-definition cams with redundant storage, analog tape backup, and live cell uplink. The subject walks into the field of the department's own camera system. No static, no glitch. He sets the parcel down, aligns it, lifts his head. Every camera in the grid simultaneously drops to 0 signal. Officers on scene report complete darkness for exactly 3 seconds. No sound, no radio feedback, just a pop like a discharging flash bulb. When power returns, the porch is empty. The package remains. Riggs approaches to collect it. She notes that the paper is dry despite drizzle and that it bears a label hand-printed in red ink. T.O. Haverhill PD evidence. Inside the package was a single cassette. On the spine, beneath a fresh strip of masking tape, it read, "Doorbell File number 13. Chain of custody log." The parcel from 322 Willow Ridge Drive was logged at 0:47 a.m. by Officer Riggs under temporary holding. Exterior wrapping, brown craft, nylon tape, faint solvent odor identical to tape number 12's envelope. Handwriting on the label matched the block style identified by handwriting analyst Weller, consistent pressure points, downward tilt E. Inside, a VHS cassette, fresh masking tape on spine, red ink. Doorbell File number 13. No fingerprints recovered. Surface coated with fine aluminum powder, deliberate print obfuscation. Technician Barnett prepared the same playback deck used for tape number 12. All officers present were required to log body cam footage during analysis. Barnett notes, architecture resembles municipal construction, concrete steps, aluminum railing. The courier steps into frame. Same gray jacket, same parcel. His visor catches the porch light, this time perfectly legible. Haverhill police stepped. Riggs mutters on recording, "That's our front door." The courier sets the parcel down on the department's welcome mat. The camera angle tilts slowly upward, as though the lens itself were climbing. The frame passes the door plate number 322 and fixes on the security camera mounted above the entrance, the same model that currently records them in the lab. The courier lifts his head and stares directly into that mounted camera. For a fraction of a second, the lab's own monitor flickers, then splits into a mirrored feed, left image showing the recorded porch, right image showing their live lab camera star. Both show the same timestamp, ticking in sync. Dual feed event. Marrow orders Barnett to pause playback. The deck refuses input. Both images continue independently, one from the VHS, one from the lab's live system. In the live feed, the courier remains motionless on the precinct porch. Riggs exits the lab to confirm. Bodycam 03 feed. The VHS Riggs steps forward. Real Riggs remains still. Their movements merge for one frame, then diverge again. The live feed loses audio for 2.7 seconds. System anomaly. All lab clocks reset to 12:03 a.m. Emergency lights trip for 0.5 seconds. Every monitor in the Digital Evidence Division displays the same frozen frame, the courier holding his parcel, now facing the camera directly. Across his visor, the reflective text changes. Delivery confirmed. Case file number 14 pending. The tape ejects itself. Smoke rises from the deck. Barnett unplugs power to prevent shorting. The cassette inside remains cool to the touch. Field report, aftermath. At 1:14 a.m., power stabilizes. External security confirms no individual on precinct grounds. When officers check the porch, the parcel is gone. Only a faint rectangular patch of dry concrete remains where it sat. Riggs replays her body cam footage. The feed ends abruptly the moment she shines her flashlight on the courier's face. The final frozen frame captures the reflection in the station glass door, a partial image of the VHS deck in the lab, still recording. Marrow orders the footage sealed under Federal Retention Order #C12309. Within 24 hours, every digital copy of tapes number 12 and number 13 vanishes from both HBD and federal archives. Internal log shows file deletion executed by administrator, system 12_03.